31 to 37 is on Sakam Karma.
Sakama Karma Yoga. Okay. Okay, we'll read. Swadharmam api chavikshya na vikampitum arhasi dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Krishna is convincing Arjuna to fight from all different angles of vision. He has already talked about that how the soul is eternal, soul cannot be killed, and so you should not refrain from doing your duty. Now he'll talk from another angle, from Kshatriya point of view, because the soul has no designation. Soul is not a Brahmana, Kshatriya. Naham vipro na chanarapatir na api vaishya na shudro naham varni na chakrihapatir no vanasto yatirva kintu prodyan akhila paramananda purnamritabder kopi bharto pada kamale or dasa dasanudas. But now he's taking as a Kshatriya. Oh, you are a Kshatriya. Now he is coming back to the bodily designation. After talking about the designation of the soul, he's saying, yeah, your duty as a Kshatriya. So considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there is no need for hesitation. So prescribed duties have to be done. And he's a Kshatriya. So you are doing a Dharma Yudh, so you should not have any hesitation. And out because Shat means hurt, Prabhupada says, and Trayate means to give protection. Kshatriya means one who gives protection from being hurt by antisocial elements. So the police, for example. So Arjuna is Kshatriya. Out of the four orders of social administration, the second order for the matter of good administration is called Kshatriya. Shat means hurt. One who gives protection from harm is called Kshatriya. Trayate, to give protection. The Kshatriyas are trained for killing in the forest. A Kshatriya would go into the forest and challenge a tiger face to face and fight the tiger with his sword. When the tiger was killed, it would be offered the royal order of cremation. This system has been followed even up to the present day by the Kshatriya kings of Jaipur state. The Kshatriyas are specifically trained for challenging and killing because religious violence is sometimes a necessary factor. Of course, devotee is non-violent. He doesn't like to kill anybody. But sometimes violence is required. So to remain skilled in violence, when we may say, well, why bichare tiger ko kyun maar rahe? The tiger just to keep his skills sharp. What is the fault of the tiger? Why we have to kill a tiger? So, but that's how they have to deal with blood, and just like in medical science also, they do experimentation on animals, right? Before the medicine is released to human beings. There is so much experimentation done. For everything, there is experimentation done first on animals. So this could be like that, It's like he has to, be trained to see blood, and he has to face the danger. He should not be scared. Kshatriya cannot be scared. So he'll go and Prabhupada says, fight tiger face to face. And the other reason is what? That
There are sages in the forest.
Yeah.
So to protect them, they kill the animals, right?
Yeah, so that's another reason. Of course, in this day and age, although Prabhupada says in Jaipur state, this is present, it is followed up to the present day. But also we have Kalo Sambhava Shudra in this age. Everybody is a Shudra by birth. But maybe there are some Kshatriya kings and they have to. The Kshatriyas are specially trained for challenging and killing because religious violence is sometimes a necessary factor. Therefore, Kshatriyas are never meant for accepting directly the order of sannyas or renunciation. Brahmanas can take sannyas. Kshatriyas go only up to the Vanaprastha ashram. Non-violence in politics may be diplomacy, but it is never a factor or principle. In religious law books, it is stated, in the battlefield, a king or Kshatriya, while fighting with another king envious of him, is eligible for achieving the heavenly planets after death. So we have our Indian history is replete with examples of kings fighting with each other, right? There are so many battles that have been fought, and all over the world. So many battles. This is like, material world is the battlefield. Some in our personal life also every day is a battle, and there's national wars and collective battles also being fought. So what to do? We are in this. We are in a situation in this material world. So there is going to be violence here. This place is like that. And also violence is there because so much violence is done towards the animals. Every day so many animals are slaughtered. So naturally violence is coming back also like that. Prabhupada says like that. So if you want peaceful and happy situation, then you have to go to the spiritual world. In the material world, there is always going to be war-like situation. It's always threat of war. Now China is, waiting to invade Taiwan. Russia is invading Ukraine. So like that bigger nation, they, and you never know when the world war will break out with all this, so many things going on. So this is a fearful situation, as the Brahmanas also attend heavenly planets by sacrificing animals in sacrificial fire. So Kshatriyas are needed. Therefore, killing on the battlefield on religious principles and killing animals in the sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be acts of violence. Because in sacrificial fire, they get a higher birth or they go to human form. Because everyone is benefited by the religious principles involved. The animal sacrificed gets a human life immediately without undergoing the gradual evolutionary process from one form to another. So now there are no Brahmanas, so we cannot sacrifice animals. But they would chant mantras by which the animal would get a higher form, maybe human form like that. So, but now nobody can chant mantras properly, and there are no Brahmanas. And the Kshatriyas killed on the battlefield also attain heavenly planets, as do the Brahmanas, who attain them by offering sacrifice. There are two kinds of swadharma, specific duty. As long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties of his particular body in accordance with religious principles in order to achieve liberation. When one is liberated, one's swadharma, specific duty, becomes spiritual and is not in the material bodily concept. In the bodily conception of life, there are specific duties for Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, respectively, and these duties are unavoidable. So Swadharma has two categories. One is on the platform of the soul and another is on the platform of the body. So such Swadharma is ordained by the Lord, and this will be clarified in the 4th chapter. Like we say, we have horizontal relationships and we have vertical relationship. Horizontal means with our friends and family and relatives like that. And then there's a vertical relationship. So we say horizontal relationship should enhance your vertical relationship with God, not make you forget your vertical relationship with God. Because that's the permanent relationship and that will be always there. Other horizontal relationships will change with time. So such Swadharma is ordained by the Lord, and this will be clarified in the 4th chapter. On the bodily plane, Swadharma is called Varnashram Dharma, or man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. Human civilization begins from the stage of Varnashram Dharma, or specific duties in terms of specific modes of nature of the body obtained. So Brahmanas are in the mode of goodness, then Kshatriyas in the mode of passion. Vaishyas are mixed, I think, passion, ignorance. Or Kshatriyas are in the mixed modes of passion. So according to the modes, one is in so Shudras are considered in the mode of ignorance. So discharging one specific duty in any field of action in accordance with the order of higher authorities serves to elevate one to higher status of life. Okay. So by performing prescribed duties, one elevates one's consciousness. Any comments anybody has? So he's saying you are Kshatriya and you are supposed to protect. So in the previous section, Krishna used arguments based on Gyan. Now Krishna will use less elevated principles, ones which promise a material reward. So Brahmanas performing sacrifice is equivalent to Kshatriyas fighting in a dharma yudh. And one reason which Arjuna gives is that he will incur sin. So here Krishna is saying, no, this is you are fighting on religious principles. You are not going to incur sin. So, okay. Okay, we can read the next verse. Any comments anybody has? So how do we know our nature? Whether we are Kshatriya, we are Vaishya, we are Shudra, or Brahmana. Anybody like to offer any suggestions?
Guruji, I thought we were all Shudras, right? Otherwise, the old system was primarily based on birth. Right?
Yeah, that was misused. Yeah, I mean, it was based on birth, but it was kind of misused.
Brahmana family means their surname ended with this, and they are Brahmins, and now in modern India, I don't think anybody, right, is following that, right? Vaishyas could be anybody, and Kshatriyas, anybody goes to military now.
Yeah, you can find out your based on what?
Guna and
Based on
karma.
Guna and karma, not based on janma.
So qualities and the type of work that you like to perform. So if you're interested in reading scriptures and teaching others, you're probably a Brahminical nature, right?
Yeah,
and if you're interested in administrative position, being a leader, that's more of Kshatriya. If you're interested in business, that's Vaishya. And if you're interested in some job, general, doing a job, right? So that's Shudra nature.
Yeah, it's a little confusing because Brahmanas don't work for anybody else. But Brahmana, now supposing, say somebody likes to read scriptures and they like to teach scriptures, but then they're also having...
They have to maintain themselves, so that's something different, right? But their nature, they don't like it.
Yeah, they don't like to do that. That's true. But their nature is more Brahminical. But because we have no Varnashram right now, so Brahmanas cannot be supported. Because the Kshatriyas would give, like they would get donations, and Kshatriyas would support the Brahmanas. But right now it's not that like that. So, correct. So that's how.
And I think Parshuram also he was Brahmana, but he killed all the Kshatriyas. I think at that time there was no Kshatriyas. Pious Kshatriyas were there to give protection. So I think they changed the rules also. It depends on the circumstances.
Yeah, sometimes Brahmanas can do the work of a Kshatriya. Like they say, when Krishna takes the position of Brahma, when nobody is qualified to be Brahma, then Krishna himself becomes Brahma or Indra, like that.
Even Dronacharya, he was teaching the Pandavas and Kauravas warfare, right, as a Brahmana.
Correct. Yeah, I'm not sure. Dronacharya is a Brahmana, right? But he's teaching, like he's fighting in the battle also. Whereas Vishwamitra Muni, he goes to.
Yeah, he doesn't fight with the demons. That's Lord Ram.
But Vishwamitra was Kshatriya, Prabhu. He became Brahmana.
Correct. But when he was a Brahmana, he did not, like he was in the forest and there were demons. So he went to Dashrath Maharaj and he said, I want your
There is
sons to fight.
huge process became a Brahmana, Kshatriya to Brahmana transition.
Mm.
There is some big story behind it, Vishwamitra.
Mm. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
even
he had
Parashurama
a
killed
fight
most of
with
the
Vashishta.
Kshatriyas, right, Prabhuji? Parashurama killed most of the bad kings. He only left Surya and Moon dynasty, like Rama dynasty and I think other dynasty. There were only two dynasty left. It remaining all he killed everybody.
Mm. Correct. Sometimes, yeah, if Kshatriyas are not there, then the Brahmanas may do the work of a Kshatriya. But because Dashrath Maharaj had his sons, Ram and Lakshman, who were like Kshatriyas, so he didn't do, Vishwamitra didn't do it himself. He went, yeah. What
There's also in Bhagavatam how the children were mixed up. Parshuram and I think like his father's wife and mother-in-law were to get pregnant and they mixed up the prasad. So the baby was supposed to be born Brahmana, was born Kshatriya. It's in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah, maybe we can read that section once. If maybe give us some verses, we can read that section afterwards. Yeah. Okay, but in this age, it's not defined. Also, sometimes it said Prabhupada wanted to establish Varnashram. He said when he was passing away, he was saying that, yeah, I want to establish Varnashram. 50% of my work is unfinished. But then we also say Harinam, 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 okay, because it's. But not everybody can, practice this bhakti yoga. So slowly, gradually, elevation through Varnashram. That's why Prabhupada wanted. Okay. I think Amit wanted to say something. Yeah. So
I'm
you.
in Prabhuji. So I was thinking like they had a plan of farm communities in which the Varnashram dharma could be followed, and people like there in ISKCON a lot of farm communities. But like we should understand our position. Based on that, we should take a decision.
Correct.
I mean, if we are taking a major step of going to a farm community, then we should understand ourselves that will we be able to sustain it or not.
Yeah, I mean, we can't just artificially do something that's. It will be difficult, yeah, if we can't have. So, okay. Uh, so, where is the Veda base here? And we have this. What verses are there? 15. You want to, somebody like to read the verses, relevant verses?
So, Prabhuji, in Kali Yuga, is it really possible to follow this system that Krishna has given us, this Varnashram system? Because we say, at one side, we say the Yuga Dharma is chanting the holy name. If everybody ideally chants the holy name, everybody will start developing the Brahminical qualities.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody cannot come to spiritual platform immediately. That's what Prabhupada says in this verse, that there are two kinds of swadharmas. One swadharma is the varnashram dharma, and the other swadharma is, as long as one is not liberated, uh, then he's in the bodily conception of life. In the bodily conception of life, there are specific duties for brahmanas and kshatriyas. So unless we become fully like, it's not possible to suddenly become spiritual, and so you have to follow the according to your modes of nature that you're influenced by. You follow the dharma of your, but this all is not very well defined. How do you figure out, and it's difficult. Okay, so just chant Hare Krishna for us. Yeah, we have to chant Hare Krishna. Do bhakti activities that Prabhupada said. Uh, and yeah, follow the principles. Yeah, that's also said Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam. That's because Varnashram cannot work in this age, so nothing can. So yeah, you wanted to read that section.
It's very complicated with a lot of names.
Oh, okay. So
You want to read, or maybe we can read later after Bhagavad Gita is finished.
afterwards, okay. Text 32. So now he's giving some. Krishna is tempting Arjun with some material happiness. Oh, yadrichaya chopapannam swargadwaram apavritam sukhina kshatriya partha labhante yuddham idrisham. O Parth, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought. Means this Kshatriya, as a Kshatriya, you should be very happy that you've gotten this opportunity to fight a dharma yuddha. So opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. So I think 2.31 to 2.38, Krishna will talk about Karma Kanda. How by performing prescribed duty one can get material enjoyment. So that's what he's going to say. As Supreme Teacher of the world, Lord Krishna condemns the attitude of Arjuna, who said, I do not find any good in this fighting. It will cause perpetual habitation in hell. Such statements by Arjuna were due to ignorance only. He wanted to become non-violent in the discharge of his specific duty. For a Kshatriya to be on the battlefield and to become non-violent is the philosophy of the fools. So, in the Parashar Smriti, or religious codes made by Parashar, the great sage and father of Vyasadeva, it is said, the Kshatriya's duty is to protect the citizens from all kinds of difficulties, and for that reason he has to apply violence in suitable cases for law and order. Therefore, he has to conquer the soldiers of inimical kings, and thus with religious principles he should rule all over the world. Considering all aspects, Arjuna had no reason to refrain from fighting. If he should conquer his enemies, he would enjoy the kingdom, and if he should die in the battle, he would be elevated to the heavenly planets, whose doors were wide open to him. Fighting would be for his benefit in either case. Yeah, so okay. If you give your life for some noble cause, then you will go to heavenly planets. And if he were to win, then he would enjoy the kingdom. And for Kshatriyas, Karma Kanda, those who follow Karma Kanda, they want to go to Swarga. So if he doesn't fight, then he will lose the opportunity to enjoy, basically, Krishna is saying. Because it's a win-win situation. Even if he loses, he wins, because he will go to heavenly kingdom. If he wins the war, then it's also he's going to get. So either way, he's going to get material happiness. So Krishna is saying everything. He covers everything from this way, that way. So no thought is left. Okay. Atha chetvam imam dharmyam Sangramam na karishyasi, tatha swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papam avapshyasi. If, however, you do not perform this religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. Krishna is saying just the opposite. He's saying if you don't fight, you will incur sin because you have neglected your duty. Arjuna is saying if I fight, then I will incur sin for killing. And Krishna is saying opposite. And reputation is also a material consideration. Because, yeah. So Arjuna was very famous and he will lose his reputation that he ran away from the battlefield like a coward. And that he will say next. How? So, of course, he fought with Lord Shiva, he got the Pashupata Astra. Dronacharya gave him benedictions and awarded him the special weapon by which he could kill even his teacher. So he was, a lot of certificates were there. Indra, he's the son of Indra. If he abandoned the battlefield, not only would he neglect his specific duty as Kshatriya, but he would lose all his fame and good name and thus prepare his royal road to hell. In other words, he would go to hell not by fighting but by withdrawing from battle. So, Arjuna wants to run away from the battle and Krishna says no.
Prabhuji, can you elaborate on the reason why Arjun will not incur any sin if he kills all his relatives? The essential topic for this one.
Yeah, why he will not incur sin? Somebody like to say. Why Arjun will not incur sin?
Because he's acting under Krishna's direction. That's the highest, but also for a Kshatriya to be fighting for the religious cause to establish dharma.
Correct. Yeah, the main thing is that Krishna wants the war. So, like Yudhishthir also, he said a lie, but he did not get any reaction. Rather, he got reaction for hesitating to say a lie, because Krishna told him, "You say a lie," but he hesitated, right? Ashwatthama is dead, right? So, whatever Krishna says, that's Krishna karma. Then you don't get reaction. And obviously he is doing his religious duty of fighting. So that's how. And they have all sided. Of course, they are his guru, but they have sided with Duryodhana and party. So they have sided with adharma. So one should not side with adharma. And Bhishma had his vow, and Dronacharya, they just felt that they were being maintained by Duryodhana, King Dhritarashtra. So I don't know. That's the reason they sided. Even though Dronacharya knew, Bhishma also knew that they're on the wrong side. Of course, then there is the Virya Ras. Bhishma Dev also wanted to experience. Krishna wanted to experience Virya Ras. So all these things are there. So, but okay. Next verse. So then again he says, people will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. Yeah, somebody who has been reputed, then dishonor is very painful. So, of course, those who are transcendental, they are equipoised in honor and dishonor. But Arjuna in Kshatriya mood, he will not be able to take, like people calling him names because he has run away. So Krishna is saying here, both as friend and philosopher to Arjuna, Lord Krishna now gives his final judgment regarding Arjuna's refusal to fight. The Lord says, Arjuna, if you leave the battlefield before the battle even begins, people will call you a coward, and if you think that people may call you bad names, but that you will save your life by fleeing the battlefield, then my advice is that you'd better to die in the battle. For a respectable man like you, ill fame is worse than death. So you should not flee for fear of your life. Better to die in the battle. That will save you from the ill of misusing my friendship and from losing your prestige in society. So, hmm. So somebody may ask the question why Arjun should worry about honor and dishonor. But Krishna is not speaking in this section of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is not speaking on transcendental platform. He's of devotional service. He is addressing him as a Kshatriya. So that's
And
So,
that
Prabhuji,
was. Go ahead, Julie.
no, I just have a question. Like you, sometime back, you said right when Amit Prabhu asked like why Arjun is not incurring sin. Like you mentioned in one of your comments that the war was the desire of the Lord. Then in Kali Yuga also, like whatever wars are happening today around us, is that also the desire of the God? And also in those wars when innocent children and family members are killed, then those families, like their faith is almost taken away from God because they consider that as an act of God, that because of act of nature, act of God, all that is happening, and they lose faith also sometimes. How do we justify such situations?
yeah. Somebody may.
The wars that are happening in the world today, they're not wars for establishing dharma. It's a matter of personal business, right? I want this land, or so it's based on profit and envy. It's not based on establishing dharma, and the wars are really happening because, as Prabhuji is saying, we're killing animals. So there's some reaction, that is collective reaction that is coming. So we kill in mass um, slaughter the animals, then the people are also being killed in mass, and then this um, disease also spreads like coronavirus and kills so many people together. It's all based on karma. These wars are happening. So then these wars are not similar to the wars from the past to establish dharma.
Yes, thank you. Is that okay? Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Because in Kali guides are like so much contaminated with so many anarthas and so much of hatred, jealousy. We are just suffering the cause of all those.
Yeah, and Arjuna is not fighting with the Kauravas for his own personal reasons, right? Like, I mean, Kauravas did so many wrong things to them, like Draupadi's, and tried to kill them in so many different ways, but they're not fighting with them for their own, right, Prabhuji? It's not like they're trying to take revenge.
Arjuna was actually, Prabhupada writes, he was willing to forgive,
Yeah, he's soft hearted.
soft
So
heart.
they can have the kingdom. I don't need it. Like, that's one of the things he said. But
And
if there
Krishna,
are bad kings, then the entire population becomes corrupt, right? Like even in this case, like if he leaves the battlefield, then there is verse that Krishna says later, Yad yada acharati sheshtas tatta devata, because he's a leader and other people will see his reaction and they might follow him, and then that's not good. So to establish a good uh, behavior for the rest, as you are a leader, then you have to follow properly.
yes. Okay. Anything else to say? All right, so we'll read the next verse. Nowadays, wars are fought for political reasons. So they want to expand their territory. Like now, this Russia-Ukraine war is Russia wants Ukraine as part. It was part of Soviet Union. Now he wants it back. And it's like that, and Ukraine has some affiliation to NATO, wants to join the NATO, and Russia and all this others. There's so much political things behind all this. There's a basically everybody has lust for power. So they want to like be the, everybody wants to exploit everybody else, and they want to become very powerful, every nation. So they are doing all these things. So all this, okay, we don't want to go into the politics of, but you know how the wars are there today. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Yeah, they will not think that you left because you were sympathetic and you were very kind hearted. They will think you are a coward. Lord Krishna continued to give his verdict to Arjun. Do not think that the great generals like Duryodhan, Karna, and other contemporaries will think that you have left the battlefield out of compassion for your brothers and grandfather. They will think that you have left out of fear for your life, and thus their high estimation of your personality will go to hell. So, and what will they do? Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? Lord Krishna was astonished in the beginning at Arjuna's uncalled plea for compassion. And he described his compassion as befitting the non-Aryans. Now, in so many words, he has proved his statement against Arjuna's so-called compassion. So, this is all about honor, dishonor. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. It's okay. And this we already said, that if you fight and you get victory, you will enjoy the kingdom. If you fight and die, you will go to the heavenly planets. And if you don't fight, then you will get sin and you will get dishonor. Because if you run away, they will, yeah. So not fighting is not an option. The only option is to fight.
So Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So honor, dishonor are all linked to the false ego, right?
Correct.
Krishna is coming to the material plane and explaining all these things so that normal people can understand.
Correct. He's a Kshatriya, so he's now appealing to his Kshatriya dharma. As Kshatriya, and what Kshatriya, how he will feel, if he doesn't fight. And so, yeah, these are, it's a lesser, but still convincing enough. Yeah, I think that we read.
For devotees, like for example, devotees also face honor, dishonor, but they do not consider it as anything, right? Later on, Krishna also describes Sthir Pragya and Dhira, who are like a flickering, non-flickering flame. They are not moved by the distress and the happiness. Neither happiness nor distress can move them.
Now he will change from the next verse on. He will just say, he's kind of going towards Nishkam Karma Yoga without considering the result. So higher than Karma Kanda, this is all based on Karma Kanda, going to heavenly kingdom and like that, enjoying. Now he's going from Karma Kanda to Nishkam Karma Yoga. Detached, dutiful duty. So this is the Sukha Dukhe Samay Kritva Labha Labha Jaya Jayo Tato Yuddhaya Yujyasva Naivam Papam Avapsyasi. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, because it's your duty. Detached, in a detached way, dutiful, detached work, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. And by so doing, you shall never incur sin. So, Nishkam Karma. And later on, he will say, surrendering all your works to me. Like, means then he will introduce Nishkam Karma Yoga. So, Nishkam Karma means you just do your activity without any desire for profit or loss or anything like that. Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjuna should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. Okay, it doesn't say in the verse that he desires the battle, but indirectly it is there. There is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or loss, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. So Prabhupada takes it even higher. So there is no reaction to material activities. He who acts for his own sense gratification, either in goodness or in passion, is subject to the reaction, good or bad. But one who has completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is a debtor to anyone, nor as one in the ordinary course of activities. It is said, Devarshi Bhutapta Nrinam Pitrinam Naking Karonayam Rini Charajan Sarvatmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam Gato Mukundam Pariritya Kartam. Anyone who has completely surrendered unto Krishna, Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer a debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone, not to the demigods, sages. Deva is the demigods, Rishis is the sages. Bhuta is the living entities, the Apta is one's relatives, Nrinam, humanity, Pitranam, the forefathers. That is the indirect hint given by Krishna to Arjuna in this verse, and this matter will be more clearly explained in the following verses. So, if you are surrendered to Krishna, then so now he's saying, don't make your decisions based on happiness or distress, material happiness and distress. Rather, just fight for the sake of fighting. And so, in Krishna consciousness, if the endeavor is to please Krishna, then it's success. Even if we don't get the result we want, because Krishna is Bhavagrahi Janardhan. Like we gave the example of Jatayu, and if we do some service and we are not successful, but we had a desire to please Krishna, then that's success. So, okay. What other example is there? Jatayu is there, one example, and then any other example like that? Where materially unsuccessful but spiritually successful.
Jad Bharat.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he actually deviated from his. So he had to go through. Yeah, I mean, the endeavors in spiritual life are not.
So he took up a position which is very meager in the material world, so that he can get a
Oh, you're
bigger.
talking about Jad Bharat. Yeah, correct. Jad
Yes,
Bharat. Yes,
Jad
maybe
Bharat.
he's not materially successful, but spiritually successful.
Yes.
Yeah, that many Kolavich Sridhar and all they are.
Very Sridhar.
Yeah, and those who were kind of cursed, like
Lep-
Parikshit Maharaj was cursed, but he was spiritually successful.
uh,
King Indradumna cursed to become Gajendra.
Hmm.
Chitraketu Maharaj cursed to become Vritrasura.
and the leper Vasudev, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he was picking up the worms and putting back on his body.
Hmm.
But Prabhuji, one thing is that when they say like do your work and do not expect, like surrender all the results, so we will attain peace, and then we will attain dhirta. But is it? I mean, practically, how exactly to achieve that? So if I work very hard for something and I do not get any result, although I mean I understand the meaning of this verse as more like watering the root of the tree so that you get the nourishment. I consider this verse as this one, but in the verse it is stated like just surrender all your results.
I didn't understand the question. What you're asking is that how can we work like that?
Yes. How do we work like that? Say, so when we surrender a result, Krishna definitely rewards us much more than what we could have expected.
Yeah, so you get satisfied when Krishna is pleased. So
Yes.
you feel
But
happy.
complete surrendering the results is like we do not expect any. Say, for example, for Krishna consciousness, there is some event happening, you work very hard, and then nobody knew that you did this. So, like a normal person will get agitated that why this? But a dhira, like or a Krishna consciousness person, will not get agitated
Correct. Those who are in the higher consciousness. Yes.
because Krishna is gonna reward them spiritually.
Hmm. Correct.
Yeah, materially also, if we are just worried about the results, then we do not perform our activities properly. Like for a student who's studying for exam, right? If it's too much an anxiety of how much he would get, like how many marks he would get, then he would not study nicely. And also we should understand that we get according to our karma, even though we might put so much hard work in things. I mean, the results are based on our karma, which Krishna controls. We don't have any control. So that anxiety is less, materially speaking, also.
Yeah, we have control on our desires only.
Mhm. And also our endeavor.
Uh, Endeavor again. I think desire only, but we can
Yeah, I
think
mean,
only
Krishna
on
gives
that.
the ability. That's right.
Yeah, we are influenced by the modes of material nature. So also, sometimes we want to do certain things, but we can't do it because we have the modes of material nature are there. So our past conditioning is there, and like that. So when you chant Hare Krishna, then you get out of the modes of material nature. You become more now like you are more in a position to exercise your free will. I mean, it's what otherwise modes of nature are only pushing us to do so many things. And sometimes even if we desire, we can't do that, right? We know when we are chanting, we want to chant, we want to hear everyone, every word, every mantra. We want to just focus on Krishna, and we just want to like chant so nicely for the pleasure of Krishna. But then our mind, is going here and there and like that. So, but we keep doing it, then we'll come to pure devotional service. So, like that.
So,
Um,
Prabhuji, Sugandha Mataji, as she was saying, is endeavor under our control or not?
Based on desire, I mean, endeavor is also not like you may say, well, I want to do this, but your modes of nature, by so let's say you will say, okay, tomorrow morning I will get up and chant,
Mm-hmm.
but your situation and the modes of material nature will not you you try, but you may not be able to do it because the
Mm-hmm.
modes of nature are there, and it doesn't allow you. But somehow or other, if you chant, then slowly I mean, endeavor is I mean, based on desire, your intensity of desire, you will do the endeavor also. And of course, when Krishna gives the environment and the abilities and everything, then your endeavor, intelligence to do the endeavor. So,
Yeah, for
I
something to
think
five elements.
time.
huh? What is it? I'm hearing some background noise. Yeah,
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I say something?
yeah, correct.
Yeah, I was saying that I think some lectures, someone has mentioned that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has quoted that failure is the pillar of success. And we learn so many things by accepting the failure. He gave an example of a Srila Prabhupada himself because he didn't know that if Krishna consciousness would be accepted in the West or not. But because his spiritual master ordered him to preach, so he felt that he must try. And everything is possible by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So externally, what we get, it doesn't that much matter, but we should try. We should at least try that. Maybe we can succeed or not. In both the cases, if we get failure, then we will get so many learnings out of this.
Correct. Yeah, that's a good point. We try our best and leave the rest to Krishna. That's it. And then if we are failing, then we can learn also so many lessons from the failures. Krishna also teaches us things through the failures.
Yeah, I mean, we were reading Damodar Leela today, right? It's the two fingers, our endeavor and Krishna's mercy.
Correct.
And endeavor is also one of the 5 factors of action. Krishna says many different kinds of endeavor.
Yeah, and endeavor is based on desire also, right? Intensity of your desire, how much your desire is there, based on the intensity of the desire.
And they say that you do as if everything depends on you, and you pray as if everything depends on Krishna. So from our side, we need to put our best endeavor, and then Krishna's mercy comes, like with the sparrow, right? Sparrow being helped by Garuda. A little bird wanted to empty the ocean and was trying its endeavor, whatever ability it had, but then mercy came in the form of Garuda.
Yeah. Correct. So, yeah, we have to do our endeavor, and our endeavor is not just going to be enough. It's Krishna's mercy is 99%. Our endeavor is very little, but that endeavor will attract Krishna's mercy, and that will fulfill the. Our endeavor is small, like the sparrow, but yeah, the mercy of Garuda, Krishna's devotee. Yeah.
I'll give you one example, Prabhuji. We had a discussion on the same point actually. Suppose somebody's both the hands are not there and he's having a very strong desire to make a garland for Krishna. Think from that perspective.
Yeah. So if you are
Whatever
not,
is his control.
so he cannot make a garland for because he doesn't have hand.
Your desire.
He can make it in his mind, because in spiritual, whatever you do physically or you do in your mind, it's same. Manas seva. There is no material impediment in bhakti, Prabhupada says. No material condition can stop you to do any bhakti.
Yes, you're right, Mataji. That's what I was saying. See, what happens is desire is like a physical desire he has to use his hand. Suppose his mind is crippled and he cannot think in those directions. There are a lot of things which happen. Like if we go on the pure level, I, we were analyzing and we thought desire is the only thing that we can have in our control. Krishna might not give you that kind of body, or your karma does not create that kind of body in which you can do a lot of activity. Your mind, you might have not even read the verse which says you can do it in your mind and it will happen in the spiritual world. So you will have that desire. You'll have that desire. Just that desire, uh, is coming from the soul. So that
Yeah, like that
desire,
Brahmana in South India, no, he did not have the means to worship Krishna very opulently, but in his mind he worshipped Krishna, and he offered that what kheer to Krishna, and everything was going on in the mind.
that is
For
even like the person who
yeah,
was
for
not
Krishna it is the same
read.
whether you do it grossly or you do subtly, because it's all both are matter, gross matter or subtle matter. It still is energy only. So Manas Seva, there are many devotees who do Manas Seva. So
So Prabhuji, you're saying endeavor is also in your control.
no, your desire basically on your mind is going based on your desire, right? So you can
Mhm.
do that in your mind if you have intense desire, but you can't do it as Sugandha was saying. We can do it
I-
mentally.
the way I'm explaining is like the power of control. what power? We have only control on our desires.
Yeah, and our desires are also influenced by our past conditioning, and we can, but still we can desire. Sometimes desires just come in our heart, uh, like because of our past condition. That's why Krishna also says, "Apurya manam." This verse will come. Apurya manam achalam pratishtam samudramapa pravashanti yadvat. What is that?
Tadvat kamyam pravishanti sarve sashanti napnoti nakam kam.
Yeah, there may be many desires coming into our consciousness because of our past and so many things, and we have to let them uh, go. Means not be disturbed by those desires that are coming from the past conditioning. It's very difficult because Arjuna is saying that the force of desire is very strong, especially the lust. Athakena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha. Aniccha napi varshneya. He has no ichha, anichan, aniccha. He has no desire but some conditioning. He is impelled to act. Why? Because of the force of the past conditioning. And we can experience that in our life also. So, but we can desire to have, like, oh, Krishna, please free me from all these desires. We can say, Krishna, please free me from, I have all these desires coming because of my past conditioning. But Krishna, now I desire to become free from all these other material desires, as Prahlad Maharaj says. I want to become free from all material desires. Take away all my material desires. So you can desire like that. You can desire to go back to Godhead like that. Even though it may not be strong, but we can desire to have a desire, right? Like that. Yeah, you want to say anything?
I mean, in Nectar of Instruction also, Rupa Goswami say Utsaha Nishchaya Dhairyat, right? You have to perform devotional service. I mean, yeah, we can desire to, become advanced devotee, but when we do bhakti, we have to put our endeavor to stay enthusiastic and endeavor with confidence, being patient, not do things ritualistically, but have our mind consciously thinking about Krishna. So all of this kind of is our endeavor, but yeah, of course, it comes about by Krishna's mercy. But as Prabhu is saying, I mean, is the endeavor in our hands? Well, the devotees are saying that we should endeavor to do it enthusiastically and properly with our mind, endeavor to chant nicely.
Yeah, Mataji. So I was reading 327 verse. The spiritual soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself to be the doer of activities. There are in actually carried out by the three modes of material nature.
Yeah. So, in different verses, Krishna is talking about different doers. In this verse, he's saying that the Jiva is not a doer, but there is another verse which says that Jiva is one of the doers. He's not the only doer, he's one of the doers. So, 5 factors to an action, 18:14, it says Jiva is part of the. There is immediate cause, there is instrumental cause, and there is ultimate cause to an action. Immediate cause is the Jiva's desires. Instrumental cause is a material nature makes it happen, and ultimate cause is Sarvakaran Karanam is Krishna.
Krishna, yes.
Thank you for. Okay. Yeah, and by our desires only we put ourselves in certain modes of. Initially, it's like that only. It's like our own desire that karanam guna sanga asya sadasadyoni janmashu. Our association, and based on association, we form our desires and all that. All these things happen. So, yeah. So even if you have bad desires, if we associate with those who have good desires, then we will get good desires. Or we get spiritual desires. If we have material desires and we associate with those who have material desires, then our material desires will go more. Right? Because that's how it is.
Yeah. Association means, as you say, is transfer of desires. And more material desires we have, more anxiety and suffering we have.
Hmm. Correct. So that's why that's one of the items favorable for devotional services to seek the association of devotees. We have to seek the association of advanced devotees. Okay. It's already 1 hour, so we can stop for here today. So now this 2.39 to 2.53, he is talking on fighting, doing our duty, buddhi yoga without any reaction. So we'll continue if that's okay. What do you say?
Yeah, Prabhuji, that's why I got confused. See, I was also reading Srimad Bhagavatam 6:40-30. Yasmin yato yeni cha yasya yasmai yad yo yatha karute karyate cha paravarisham param prak parisiddham. So, Supreme Brahma, Krishna, is the ultimate resting place and source of everything. Everything is done by Him, everything belongs to Him, and everything is offered to Him. He is the ultimate objective, and whether acting or causing others to act, He is the ultimate doer. There are many causes, high, low, but since He is the cause of all causes, He is well known as the Supreme Brahma who existed before all activities. He's the one who, without a second, has no other cause. I therefore offer my respective obeisances to him.
That's correct, because nothing can happen without sanction of the Lord. So we say like he is the ultimate doer, the ultimate cause is.
So Krishna created three modes of material nature, and from that modes of material nature, we got a material body. From that material body, we desire, our soul desires, as it came in contamination with the three modes of material nature, our soul starts desiring. Those desire, based on the level of contamination, creates action which is done by the three modes of material nature, which is your material body.
Mhm.
But soul, which is infinitesimal particle, is not. I mean, is not carrying out these endeavors. This is carried out by the three modes of material nature, which is his body also.
Yeah, there is a flaw in this argument because if somebody kills someone, he would say that I didn't do it. It's God who
He
made me
desired.
do it.
He
So
desired.
don't.
He desired. So he desired. He did it.
Mhm. Yeah, that's right. So that's the immediate cause is his desire.
He desired. Yeah. Because even what Juhi Mataji was saying initially, that see Krishna kills, like the any murder which is happening on the earth is because there has been some action. So when Krishna wants to remove the burden of the earth, if I have killed somebody, that person in my next life is gonna come in front of me. Krishna is gonna bring that desire to his heart that you must kill now. I think Srimad Bhagavatam 116. I think this verse is 116 or some. I just read that. Let me reach. Okay. So at the time, those things come to our mind and we do it.
That's why we have to. I mean, for us, it's like if you want to get rid of all these desires, and we have to chant Hare Krishna, we have to do devotional service. Then we'll get the right desires. And that's the only solution. Because yeah, otherwise we'll get all the wrong desires, and
Yeah.
we need guidance of the great souls. So
Yeah. And I mean, I'm just thinking in that perspective. Maybe I'll read more about it. Maybe I'm not getting the correct perspective.
yeah, soul's desire is basically the cause of his coming to the material world, and then Krishna is facilitating the desire to enjoy in different ways through the modes of material nature. He is facilitating our desires. We say there are 8,400,000 species of life to accommodate all the desires of the living entity. So he's desiring like this. So Krishna says, okay, give him this body. This kind of body is good for him. So we desire and things happen. Everything is based on desire. Prabhupada, one time, one person came and said, what keeps one in Krishna consciousness? What is that? So Prabhupada said, it's desire. So desire is one which, because we have some desire to be connected with Krishna, so we are chanting Hare Krishna, we are reading Bhagavad Gita. So everything is based on desire. And sometimes we get, mercy. So mercy can change the desires. Like if somebody is related to somebody and or somebody prays for us, that, oh, let this person become a devotee. Then we, Krishna may like interfere and try to. Like today in the morning we were reading, right, that whatever the devotees desire, then Krishna is fulfilling that desire. Prabhupada is desiring we all be liberated. So, yeah. Somehow it's happening, or it will happen eventually. Okay. So,
Also, I mean, if endeavor was by Krishna's only as Prabhu, and then Rishabh Dev is saying Tapo Divyam Pudrakayena Sat. Right? You do austerity. And once you have gotten this human form of life, you do tapasya. You should not work hard and like animals, but you should engage in penance and austerity.
correct.
So, of course, we need to pray that we become like that we are able to and do endeavor in bhakti, that we are able to get up early in the morning, chant our rounds nicely. For that, we need to pray, and Krishna will. But so, Prabhuji has a condition: the endeavor is in our hands or Krishna, right?
Endeavor is in our hands or Krishna's hand? Is that the question?
Yeah. What is that Prabhuji is trying to figure out?
I don't know.
No
That's
harm.
what he's.
That is the only thing we have a control. And endeavor is done by the modes of material nature. And modes of material nature, if we understand, is as subtle as well as our physical body.
Yeah, I'm not following the whole thing, but we can discuss.
So what is the inferior prakriti? What all elements are there? Your body is part of your body is part of inferior prakriti. Your mind, intelligence, ego is also part, which is subtle body, is also part of inferior prakriti. Soul is part of para prakriti. So, so this inferior prakriti is created by three modes of material nature: rajo, tamo, and satogun. So the soul generates the desire. The three modes of material nature carries it out. But three modes of material nature is Krishna. Like we are, it's just like saying the statement, we are not this body.
We are influenced by the three modes of material nature. The consciousness of the soul is influenced by the three modes of material nature.
Yes. So
So,
aim
so
and
basically, he's under captivity, but he's
yes,
thinking he's free. He's
yes,
he's
yes.
he's bound by these modes of material nature because he has done it. And how did he get bound? Did Krishna bind him like that? No, he desired.
He
He and
desi-
he
that's what I was
he
saying.
desired and he acted in such a way that now he's bound
Yeah,
in that modes of material nature,
yes,
like that. So,
yeah, that's what I was saying, Prabhuji.
correct. And so now, but because of the false ego, he thinks, oh, I am free. Ahankara vimudatma karta hamiti manyate. Although he's bound, but he's thinking he's free. So,
So a simple example is there, right, Prabhuji? You might have a very good desire. You know something is wrong, but three modes of material nature carry you to do something wrong.
Yeah, I mean, three modes of material nature are not like basically it is my consciousness that is influenced by the three modes of material nature, which will not. Although I have a desire to do the right thing, but the conditioning due to the three modes of material, like an alcoholic, for instance, right? He has conditioned himself to drink alcohol so much that he wants to give up drinking alcohol, but he cannot do it.
Yeah, he's desiring, but
He,
endeavor is not in his control.
he's desiring to give up alcohol, but he cannot resist drinking alcohol because the conditioning is so bad. Like, so he needs some help from outside. He goes to Alcoholic Anonymous or something like that. And so
Yes,
similarly, we are also like, too much under the modes of material nature. So we need the help of somebody who's unbound and the guidance of the guru, like that. So in that way, we need some help from outside. Because on our own, we desire, but because of the bad conditioning, it may
mhm.
not be possible to get. Of course, somebody may just, I've seen some people, they can give up like on their own also, but sometimes it's very bad. So we need the mercy. That's the part, yeah. So, like that, we are all conditioned here by the modes of material nature. And this conditioning makes us feel that this world is a happy place and I have to, I'm going to get, although it is we can't see the reality that how we are transmigrating because we are conditioned. Just as the alcoholic, when he's drinking, he doesn't understand that it's going to damage his liver, he's going to get into big trouble. So when we are absorbed in the mode of passion, it covers the real knowledge. Avritam jnanametena jnanino nityaverina. So the kamarupena kantya dushpurena analena cha. So we are all covered by this great desire for sense gratification in this world that we can't see the reality. Our knowledge is covered. So, correct? So it's like that Maya is covering our knowledge.
Yeah. When we become free from the modes, then we become free to act as we desire.
Correct. Yeah.
Otherwise, we are bound and forced to act in a certain way.
Yeah. So we experience that strong conditioning in our life. So, and our mind is like, because it is from many lifetimes, it's built up a momentum. It's like a heavy, vehicle going in a certain direction with great speed. Now you have to change the direction of that heavy vehicle going in a certain direction with great speed. It's not so easy. You have to change the direction. So you're going fast. So there is a momentum that has come with us from our past life and it is going in a certain direction. Spiritual life means you have to change the direction. So it requires that's where tapo divyam putra kayena sattvam. You have to do some extra hard work to change the momentum. Otherwise, direction. Otherwise, it'll keep going in the same direction and life after life. Of course, that hard work is easy in this age. We have to chant Hare Krishna. We have to associate with devotees. We have to eat prasadam. By that, it will change. That's what Prabhupada did. Everybody was going to, like, they were drinking and all these things that happened. Prabhupada came and now they are going back to Vaikuntha. That's the explosion, Hare Krishna explosion that happened. So instead of going to hell, you suddenly change your direction. You're going to Vaikuntha. Ajamil, like he was going to go to hell, but direction changed. So that's the power of Krishna consciousness. Yeah. And even at the time of death, like it was mentioned today, one can attain perfection, right? Even at the time of death, one can be situated. Okay, so any other thoughts anybody has? I mean, the desire has to be also intense, also, right? I mean, otherwise, desire is there, then so many other desires are there. Like, so we have to make this desire very prominent, and it should be the focus of our life. Not that I have desire, but I have so many other desires. So it's like one of the many desires. Then the Vyavasayatmika Buddhi is not there. Then there is many branched. The intelligence is many branched. So we have to do our duties. We can't be impractical. We have to do our duties. But that everything should support this desire that I want to become Krishna conscious. Everything should be like subservient, Krishna says, or in the Rupa Goswami says, right? Everything should be subservient to this principle, to always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So everything that we do should remind us of Krishna, to bring us to the point of Krishna, not forget Krishna. So like that. And then we can do all our activities and remembering Krishna and chant Hare Krishna. So, yeah. Okay, so I think all of you had good points. And I'm just speaking from my understanding, which may be flawed also. So, everybody understands it a little differently. So, but any other comments before we close? So, thank you very much then for joining today. We'll discuss
Thank you,
Bhagavad.
Prabhuji.
Yes, thank you. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.